That sounds revolutionary.
How do you ascertain the emotional age of someone?
Well, that I can only say comes with experience, because you have to actually have some experience with children. If you have younger siblings, if you have your own children, you usually are able to gauge that. Usually, as an adult, there are just certain rules about being an adult. You know that you're not always going to get your way. You know that, you know what, sometimes life is unfair. And you're not going to be happy all the time. And as an adult, you need to be able to manage that. If somebody is not even capable of handling that, if they are unable to function day to day in their life, that's because on some emotional level, they haven't grown up yet. So that would be one of the ways that I personally ascertain it. But again, sometimes you just have to sit down and you have to talk to people, and you have to talk to them for a couple of hours even to really figure out where they're at emotionally.
And how do you figure that out?
How do I figure
where someone is emotionally?
Well, that's the question I've just answered.
By their behavior?
By their behaviors, specifically where they are in their life, how they handle crisis situations, how they handle bad moods. You know, an adult is expected that, hey, you know what, just because you had a bad morning, don't come into my face and yell at me and be rude with me. An adult is able to say, yes, I had a bad day at the morning, but I'm coming to the office and I'm going to treat everybody civilly, because I can understand that just because I'm in a bad mood doesn't mean I have to take it out on someone else. That's an adult thinking. Somebody who comes in and says, I've had a bad morning and so did this to me and so did that to me, they have no control over their behavior. They're letting their emotions dictate their behavior. That might be a sign. In terms of what my stand-up comedy is, based on the book Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test, it's a much more gruff character. I don't go on stage to educate. I go on stage to make a few people laugh based on some similar concepts that my book covers in order to promote the book.
Can you give us a couple of lines, scripted lines from that routine? Can I see this person come out here? Or? I'm sort of curious now that you've mentioned it.
It wouldn't be appropriate. My act is very crude, very rude. I start off by saying, everything out of her mouth is a test, and I give an example. When a woman says, do I look fat in this dress? What is the emotional need behind that question? If you say, yes, you look fat in that dress, she may not react positively. If you say, no, you don't look fat in that dress, she may also react negatively.
Yeah.
Because she may assume, well, he's lying to me, he won't protect my reputation, so on and so forth. So the answer I give is, take her by the hand, twirl her around, look her up or down, then grab her, rip her clothes off, and penetrate her. Now, I don't use that language when I'm in the act. I use a lot more foul language, which I will not do here. And how does that address the emotional need? Well, she'll turn around and say, you're a pig, you're a jerk. The man should respond, yes, I'm a pig, I'm a jerk. That's my job as a man. The book will go into it and explain how the man must be responsible for the sex in the relationship. The man must be responsible for the sexual nature of the relationship. It has to be his fault. That's why women truly love bad boys, because it's his fault that they're having sex, not her fault. She doesn't have to take the responsibility. She can just enjoy the ride. But in the act, I will say something along the lines of, the woman may get angry, the woman may say, he's such a jerk, he's such an honest jerk. An honest jerk? Wow, I'm really turned on. I have to go have sex with this man now. I make fun. I create a persona that is, a frustration personified at the whole concept. I actually go into, in part of my act, where I say, the real difference between flirting and sexual harassment is about 30 pounds. Now, that's just a joke. And when I'm on stage and I'm dressed up and yelling into the microphone, sure, it can be funny. But you know what? That's an aspect of my own personal frustration, seeing how I'm the same guy with the same life experiences and the same jokes and the same mannerisms and the same behaviors, going after the same type of women. But if I'm attractive, it's flirting. The character that I play is not a real character. It's not really who I am. It's a personification of the absolute angst and frustration that took me on the journey to write my book. It's called The Story of Frank B Kermit, which is the character that I've developed when I was learning this. It contains every screw-up I've ever made and all the great things that have happened to me after this catharsis.
What totally impressed me was this idea that seems to make sense And in fact, I don't understand it enough from our brief discussion today. I'm hoping maybe we'll get a chance to have some more discussions like this, because this is very interesting.
I'm glad you're enjoying this. Where I got that particular concept from, when I started on this journey, it was just a very bad experience that I had where I had my heart completely shattered. The first thing I started doing is I began to identify all of the male friends and colleagues that I had who are actually very successful with women and their relationships. So I simply went up to them and I said, what do you believe? What it is you do? How do you figure this out? Mm-hmm. In getting to know them and looking at what their base philosophies were and then looking at the way they acted on those base philosophies, the truth is many men who are very good with women don't know why they're good with women. They figure every guy is going to be that good with women. They can't properly give advice because they just figure, oh, you're really good at it. I'm sure you know what to do. You'll figure it out. The truth is, a lot of men don't. They don't know how to do this. They've been living in a system which has let them down. When the system no longer works for them, when buying her dinners, sending her flowers, being nice with her, trying to make her happy, when all of that at the end of the day doesn't work and she's out with some other guy that you find out and you're devastated, and the next thing you know, you have to make a decision as to whether or not you're going to abandon your family, maybe have to support your kids and change your whole life. You believed in a system that, guess what? It didn't work for you. Now they're lost. A lot of these men are lost, and they're trying to find some way to build up again.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's just men. I think that there's... I had a woman in here, and what she told me was, this is a city of very lonely people. Lots of lonely women who can't find a guy that can satisfy them, and lots of lonely guys who can't seem to get in touch with a woman.
A lot of people now are so afraid because they've mistaken initial communications as something bad. So the rule became you only approach someone who already finds you attractive. How do you figure that out when everybody is also trying to hide their emotions and trying to hide the fact that they're attracted to you? That's why you got a lot of lonely people out there. You see, a man is judged by how many women he's been with, and the more women he's been with, the higher his perceived value. However, a woman is judged by who she's been with.
Oh, interesting. And a man isn't very astute. Where did you learn all this stuff?
That's actually a very long story. I'm going to give you a very shortened version of it. I went through 3 or 4 very, very troubling periods of my life, starting when I was 16, when I got stood up at my prom, around in my early 20s, after being involved with my ex-fiancée. We were together for about 3 years. That relationship ended very, very devastating. A few other incidents of that nature finally made me stop and say the rest of my life isn't worth putting together unless I can finally understand the dynamics in a relationship between men and women.
And I think it's something that isn't well understood.
From Loser to Seducer is the story of Frank B. Kermit. This book marks the triumph of a nice guy over most of his inner demons. This includes going from being a loser to managing 5 lovers at the same time, his first Valentine's date with 2 women at the same time, and getting back the one that got away. Want to learn how you can change your life? Buy this book at franktalks.com.